Live once and never look back. Number two, now, I've even covered when to forgive. We are going now to when do I forgive somebody? When do I forgive my partner? When do I forgive someone who has wronged me? Listen, guys, when a mistake happens, for example, my wife went to take shower, right? And a message pops up in her phone. And then I'm like, what kind of a message is that? Then when I look at it, I see a suspicious number that I've never seen in her phone. So what do? I wait, maybe I don't have a password, or maybe it's passwordless. So I open the message, and when I look at it, someone sent her a message. Sweetie, honey, something, something suspicious, something suggestive. What do I do? Remember, when something happens abruptly, unexpected, your blood goes up, your emotions rises, your anger levels comes up. Everything stops to function. So the best thing that you can always do, I know it is not easy and it is very difficult to advise anyone, even myself. I have to learn how to do it. That is always the time that you need to be so calm. Because number one, you might accuse someone falsely. And the worst thing in a relationship is accusing your partner falsely, especially for cheating. If you do that, you have brought a bad blood in your relationship. So the best thing is always to calm yourself. Try as much as possible to calm yourself down. You know, when uh, when I was in high school and we were doing drama, I was in drama club, and we used to participate in drama festivals. So they used to tell us, before you go to a stage, you need to breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out until you release the fear, you release the tension in your blood. So the best thing, before your wife or your husband comes back from the shower, once you have seen that message, breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Assume that you did not see that message. Breathe in and breathe out. Do not, my dear sisters, do not go and take, how do you call it? The cloth, the Swahili people call it leso. Um, the Indians call it sari. Do not take it and tie on your waist waiting for the battle, waiting to wrestle your husband. And my dear brothers, don't take gloves waiting to punch your wife. Relax, relax, cool it down, put your tempers down. That is what is called when to forgive. Let me tell you guys, when you control your temper, you control your anger, you control your emotions, you can forgive something that you never knew you could forgive. You can forgive something that you have never known you can forgive. And let me tell you something, guys. People always say, I cannot forgive someone who cheats on me. I cannot forgive. I'm using cheating because this is the biggest act of a relationship that most of the people don't forgive. So that's why I'm giving example about cheating. Okay? So most of the people say that I cannot forgive someone who has cheated me. Then for sure they cheat and you don't forgive them and they leave or you leave. And after 5 months, now the anger levels has gone down, emotions have calmed, the blood has cooled down, you are going back to them. Has anyone ever realized that? That we always say we will not forgive. I cannot forgive. And for sure you don't forgive. Because the time you are living, you could not forgive. Your anger levels was high. Your blood pressure was high. Then you leave, you stay 3 months, 5 months. You have calmed down. Then now you're coming back. What is bringing you back? You said you cannot forgive. So why are you forgiving now? That's why in my classes and my clients, I always tell them that there is nothing that human being cannot forgive. The only problem is we do not always know how to handle our anger levels. We do not know how to handle our emotions. We do not know how to handle the repercussions and consequences that comes with whatever betrayal has happened from your partner towards you. Number 3, how do you forgive somebody? So now, how do I forgive this person who has cheated on me? There has to be a way on how you forgive them. And the how I forgive is that one that we always say that God forgives and forgets. We are trying to teach people how God forgives. He forgives and He forgets. And we as believers, as a Christian, I believe that once I have confessed my sins, God forgives me. And He will never judge me again with my past. Your woman did something wrong. How many times have you reminded her about that? When your man wronged you and you told him that I've forgiven you, but when he does another mistake, how many times do you remind him or her of the past that you've forgiven him? Remember, I did this, I forgave you. You did this, I forgave you. So again, you are doing this. It doesn't solve your relationship problems. It keeps more hatred between the two of you. It makes somebody feel low of themselves. Nobody doesn't make mistakes. We make mistakes every single day. God never reminds us of our mistakes. Some of us have aborted kids, and God forgave you. He doesn't remind you that you did abort. It is you who perhaps remembers that you did. But once you go and ask God for forgiveness, He forgives you. Some of you have even killed people, but you turned to God and God forgave you. You go to churches and you find pastors giving, witnessing about their lives, about what they did in their past. Some of your pastors were robbers before. They used to rob people and they maimed and taken so many lives. But today you kneel before them for them to pray for you. But when your husband misses to buy salt, and he comes back home without buying the salt that you sent a message to him to buy, you want to remind him for the next 5 years. When your wife cooks ugali and it does not cook well, it is still ugali bichi. And then she brings it to the table and you eat it as a husband. And the ugali, the food is not good. The food is not cooked well. Every time she cooks, you want to remind her about how she cooked before. How do we forgive? How do you forgive your partner? You forgive with a full heart and forget that it happened. That is how we forgive. And that is what brings strength. That is what brings respect. That is what brings love in any relationship. We have to learn the art of forgiveness. It is not just a matter of forgiving. There has to be a way that we learn. We sit down and we start learning the art of forgiving. Forgiving is one of the best things that keeps relationships alive. We are doing what we call restorations of our relationships. Relationships are going to work whether we like it or not. It is time that we have to shame the devil. It is time that we have to shame the powers that is around the globe that is trying to make people not to date. There are some powers that are being pushed in us that is causing relationships to die. And these are not even spiritual powers. These are man-made powers that is making people to feel that being single and living a single life is the most important thing. My dear sisters, God created marriage. God created relationship. God created a woman for a man. And you cannot and you can never convince me that single life is better than a relationship life. Never, ever. We have to restore relationships. But we cannot restore it by telling people that, oh, being married is the best thing. No, we have to teach people on how to stay in marriages. We have to teach people on how to stay in relationships. And one factor of staying in relationship is learning the art of forgiveness. If your heart cannot forgive, you've got to still not get into any relationship. If you do not know how to forgive your partner, you do not need a relationship. You are still a needy person who needs to sit down and learn how to forgive before you get into a relationship. Let me tell you something, guys. Some of you, I hear you saying that nowadays people are cheating too much. Before, people used not to cheat. Let me ask you something. If today you will take a DNA test of your lineage, if your grandparents are still alive, your uncles are alive, and your aunties are alive, those that we always say that, oh, these people they were not cheating. Take a DNA test with them and follow that DNA test lineage until you, who's watching this video, you will realize that most of your relatives are not even your relatives. I'm telling you a fact, because the thing is, today we are thinking that people are cheating too much, but it's not true. People started cheating since long time, but the thing is, today we have an exposure. We have the know-how, a technology that is making us to read other people's stories. We have social media where people are sharing their stories. We have the media, the print media, magazines, TV stations, radio stations. We can listen and hear about people cheating here and there. I'm telling you, before, when you look at the lineage of your uncles and your aunties, some of your uncles that you think belongs to your grandparents and your grandmothers were never even born by your real grandparents. They were born by their uncles. But nobody knows because technology wasn't there before. So I'm telling people that we need to get back to our traditional way of life and start forgiving people. We need to realize that nothing is changing. Technology is just changing. We are getting to